Hello. I'm Will Forge, and today we will forge. Ooh, I got my microphone over in the wrong spot. Move it over here. That'll be a little bit better. I know there's lots of clicking. Sorry about that. Okay, now. So here's the thing. Michael Latona. What? They changed textures again. What the hell? That's really weird. This is not the first time. Also, I'm not getting my selection radius around objects. Oof, oof. Yeah, I think I've got to quit and come back in right off the bat. Let me do that. Fast. Before anybody joins into chat. Ah, there's somebody. Forge go, brr. Exactly. I've got to immediately close the entire game and come back in, apparently. I left it on overnight, but not in Forge, and I didn't think about the fact that I should probably restart it. Let's see. Where is my Steam? Sorry about that. But yeah. Man, okay, so, Michael Latona has, in my comments section on my videos, came in and suggested, hey, what if those little plasma beams you have up in the towers are so far away from the ground? You know? They're going to disappear at distance anyway, and they're so far away that you don't really see that they're plasma-y beams. What if you did a light cone and made it a color, and used an animated light cone so it still looks good up close, maybe not as good as the plasma beams, but it looks good. And that way, whenever someone flies up to it, they still see something cool. But then, or like grapple shots up there, they still see something cool. But it'll only be cool enough without affecting the FX budgets, right? So, because lights count as lights and not FX, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, they're cheaper effects. They don't take up as much of the budget. So, or rather, they don't take up as much as the processing power, because I think they're processed on a layer that's separate from regular effects. They're certainly not as animated. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and set up... Oh, you know what? You know what I should have done? I should have deleted that latest version that was just generated by me going back in. Because texture change on that... I mean, it saves every time you quit still, right? That wasn't a bug that they fixed, right? Do you know, Unseen Halo, if that was something they might have fixed after or something like that? Or if that was like a bug, or if that was intentional, because honestly I think it might be intentional that they set it to save every time you quit. Some people are saying every single time they go into the pause menu, it saves automatically. Which is, I don't know that I've seen that, but okay. Yeah, the texture's still messed up. That's what I was just concerned about, is the texture. I don't think anything else... Well, I have no idea if anything else got messed up, but let's see. So there's the waterfall, and it stops animating. Let's see. Hello! New background! Yes, yes it is. I set up a totally different background. Little backdrop behind me. It's all my Game Informers and Xbox magazines and EGMs. I think, personally, well, this one's kind of cool because it's all the way back whenever it was called Halo 3 Recon, not Halo 3 ODST. But I think this one is my favorite because of the art. This one's from Halo 2. With Halo 2, they went out of their way to make special art. Bungie went out and had special art made just to send out. I'm a pro streamer now, exactly. I don't know, there's so many things that were fixed and broken at the same time that I have just decided to not forge until next season, maybe, lol. Yeah. I can understand that. It's been very buggy. Speaking of Klen, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the bug fixes. They've done some stuff involving the scripting that solved some problems that some of which I was not even sure. I know, right? It's like I think one of the problems is that they partially it's because they were trying to reach seasonality. I think you know, to some extent is because they were trying to they switched how they release their release schedule, and they're releasing things at like 90% finished, which is what they said they were going to do so that they could reach seasonality. And I think that is because they're trying to make a sustainable, like, not too taxing on the employees, you know, situation. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah. Let's see. We're gonna do a cone, and we're gonna do a blue, like a blue plasma. Let's find that blue, or a close enough blue to it. Is that the blue? That's roughly the blue. But I think it might be this one. No. This one? This one. That looks pretty good. And it's actually two blues normally, but we're just going to animate one color of blue. I'll leave the light on, but its brightness is only going to be like 3. So it's not too bright. Well, no, it could be like, we'll go like 5. So it'll light that up a little bit. Let's see. But yeah, they just break everything. They just seem to break everything all the time. And we're gonna do we'll do a candle light. That one's really good. And then we'll go with, oh right, it's still set to point light. Needs to be a spotlight. And then we're gonna go with a gobo animation. Not the banish logo. But we also need to do this, make this cone do 20 width. Oh, that's length. Whoops. 40 looks good on length, but the width is going to be like 5. Maybe more like 8. No, I kind of like 5. We'll go with something a little higher than 5. Go to like a 6. And then we can go with, let's see, the cone intensity is going to be like 30. So it's like super bright. Or, well, let's, oh, it goes at 20. Okay, cool. By the way, I'm working on the script. Oh, cool. Cool. Because, yeah, I was wondering about that. You know what else this is? I think this cone can be set to be longer than those beams. Like, if I put the cones over there as well, I might even be able to make it connect all the way up to the top without having any breakage between them. But we'll see. I think maybe I should put these inside the tubes for the grav lifts. I think I like the idea of putting the actual beams. Whoops. So basically these, I think I want to be actual plasma beams so they look like the ones from like from Halo 1. But these could be light cones because they don't need to be all like energy waviness, you know? But they can just be like light cones inside the tubes, you know what I mean? So that could be cool. That also might just make them glow really well. Let's see. Okay, no, anyway, the gobo type is set to blind, so that's not right. Is it caustic? I think it's... Oh, gobo's there, isn't it? It's not the actual... It's not the animation of the thing. I think that would look good, though. That looks like, it kind of looks like plasma. This caustic large, it's always the one I use. Like, every time. It's like, it lets you make it look like water. In this case, it looks like sort of coursing electric plasma. It can make things look like lava. It's like, every single time I use anything like this, I use the gobo, it always seems to be caustic that I'm selecting. I don't know why. Okay, so at 300 it'll start to fade. I don't want it to fade until, you know, it's inside that thing. And then if I turn off the parent light, yeah, I want the parent light. That looks pretty good. Width, length, type, basic. Okay, if I increase the intensity back up, will that make the beam at all brighter? Because that's the main thing I'm focusing on right now is... Let's see. I want to make the inner cone a little wider, source size, make sure it doesn't like blow out in any kind of fog, light range, cast static shadows is on. Oh, I want to do shadow distance down to 0.1 so it doesn't create any weird lighting effects. Type spot and color blue. Okay, so that is basically what it would look like if it's just that. Now I could bring it down into the floor a bit to sort of try and make that cone not like go into so much of a fine point at the bottom. I could also try... So what if I duplicate it, right? And I 180 degree flip it, and then I bring it up here. I think it's not at the correct angle because of some annoying kind of bug going on here where it's as soon as I duplicated it, it changed the angle. Yeah, it shifted it. But also the angle apparently isn't perfect anyway. So I want to point this one at that one and that one at this one. And then one more click with this one. There we go. And then I'll change this one to the dark blue, to a darker blue. How they have the two different blues in the plasma. This one looks kind of good. I like that one. And apparently I am not centered or something. Oh, right. You know, I'm just going to reset the rotation and realign it, because whenever I duplicated this one, it appears to have once again messed it up. So that would make a plasma beam that looks like that, which is much more interesting than just a single cone of light. Two different shades of blue. It's got the gobo going on, which is really cool looking from below. The cone is actually kind of interesting. I think I'm going to increase the flicker speed. Really nice effect, yeah. And the really cool thing that I really like about it is that it's cheaper. This was a great idea. There we go. Now it's flickering a lot, like really fast. Let's do that on both of them, actually. That looks great. We'll go to 4 on this one. Actually, I think this one wants to be 3, and that one wants to be 4. Or maybe one of them wants to be 2. But yeah. That looks basically as good as the plasma beams. Not really. I mean, those look really good with their waviness. But that looks really close. Let's see. I think there's a... You know what else? I'm being dumb. There's an even better option, too. Because I still got it on just basic cone type. I can do cloudy. There we go. There's also cloudy wide, light rays. These are these light rays are pretty cool. There's medium width. There's misty. There's smoke is really cool and animates. Soft, wide, and none. Okay, so I really like cloudy. That one animates a lot, but I'm thinking about potentially... What if this one is something else from the darker blue one in the middle, so that they look a little bit different from one another? You see what I mean? To where the darker blue, and I did it the other way around, I think this one wants to be what do you call it, cloudy, and this one wants to be smoky, because smoky is slightly more muted. Or not. Was it misty? Was it misty that I was doing? Anyway. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. Let's see. What are we talking about? We're talking about how one of my viewers came into the computer. See, the cheaper, the better. Trashing 343 as usual. Yeah, I guess. So basically, what we're talking about just now is Michael. Now I've forgotten his last name, but I said it so many times earlier that it's in the video. That's fine. I think I'm just really bad at names. But anyway, a viewer named Michael came into the computer, into the comment sections of the last video, and was like, "Hey, you're having trouble with effects. What if you replace these beams with light cones?" And I was like, "That's brilliant. That, of course, that makes it so much. That'll be brilliant. That'll be perfect." So we're just trying to figure out how to do that, and I think this light cone, these double light cones, are basically as good as these. I think that from below, you're not really gonna, it's not really gonna be much of a difference. In fact, they're gonna be more stable looking in their projection, and they create that gobo effect, and none of that alters your effects layer, because the rendering of effects is, it's still messing up with just one of them gone, but like the rendering of effects is on a is in the you know, in the engine is rendered at a different layer than lights, so it will potentially not stop all of my number of effects from going off. Let's see if this is going to work a little bit better with just those gone, or at least that's the theory. It may still have too many effects in one spot right here. Like, it might be about how many are in one spot and all that stuff, but it also all started with Season 3, so this could literally just be a new bug that there's a, because they're altering effects right now. That's what I was talking about originally, but, yeah. That could still be it, and all of this might not be necessary, but, I mean, it still would be better on the budget. Let's see. We just have no idea, so we have to make do with what we have, you know what I mean? With what information we do have. I have noticed that duplicating these lights are as buggy as duplicating normal lights now. Or not normal lights, but lights that have, what just happened? Oh, I duplicated the entire thing instead of, I see now. I thought I was grabbing this one. That was very confusing. I must have grabbed that as well as the lights. Okay, cool. Now, are they rotated weird? Okay, no, they're not. Why was that the first one rotated weird? See, these never rotated weird before, so I was thrown off. Oh, they're located weird. They've made them closer together. What the heck? The locations got thrown off. Okay. Well, anyway. Let's see. World 45. There we go. And we will snap. Where's the... There we go. Snap location. And are they roughly the correct height? No, they definitely did it. It definitely did adjust their locations to one another. Anyway, so we've got some really cool plasma beams now that will do just nicely, you know, quite nicely. I am, let's see, Stinky Forge until Season 4. Yeah, we are having a lot of trouble with that. Let's see. Okay, there's no snapping point over here. Because I need to deselect and reselect it. Okay. So once I'm done duplicate, it looks like it's adjusting their height, their distance from one another, exactly the same each time I duplicate it. So as long as, let's see. As long as I come over here, okay, and I deselect this and then I go like this. Okay, so it's in the right spot. Okay, now I can select all of them and just move them up a little bit, I think, to make them the same as that one. And it shouldn't be too big of a deal, like that. There. So now I've got the same kind of beams, and actually I kind of like them more because of the gobo effect. It looks very cool looking up at this thing. Both the light blue one there and the dark blue one down there, and then the plasma electricity coursing around through it. Looks really cool. And whenever I get to the point where I can scale effects, I will scale, whenever they release that update, I'll scale that thing to make there be more plasma in the middle or more electricity arcing around and stuff. Let's be real, Season 4 will still suck. Yeah, Season 4 Forge will probably come out and introduce new bugs, different bugs. The AI, for example, will probably, like, even though they're, you know, it'll be really cool to have them, they'll probably be buggy right off the bat. It will if water isn't colorable. Yeah, if water can't be colored, and AI comes out and it's, you know, the bots, or the campaign come out and then like they can't be, you know, commanded. Like if all you can do is spawn them and they just like guard where they currently are, or something like that, or like you create a volume and they spawn inside of that volume and then you move that volume around and they kill people while they're inside that volume and that's the extent of what you can do, then I can imagine that being a major problem. Although I think that you can like probably figure out a way to like use that in scripting cleverly to really get a, you know, to make something kind of cool. But still, the point is, I'm just gonna prefab this and so I can move it, so I can reselect it in a minute. The point is that yeah, I think there's gonna be there is a good chance that season 4 is gonna be as good or as bad or something. All Quiet on the Western Front, any good? Oh, the movie, yes, I did see that movie. That was really good. That was really, really good, actually. People expected it to be like some heroic war movie, and like war film, and it's like, it's kind of more like a realistic war film. So, just be aware of that. You're not going to go into it, you know, feeling like everybody's. Maybe you don't go into it feeling like it's super pro-war. It's more like anti-war war film. Some people actually thought it would be pro-war, like a heroic, you know, these are the heroes of World War II kind of thing. And it was heroic in some extents, but it's much more realistic than just that. So, it's a little bit. Oop! Oh shoot! I messed all of them up. Okay. Well, okay. I'm not going to copy the copy because cloning a clone just, you know, causes genetic, you know, issues. So instead we're going to go back to the original one and copy this one and put it over there. Because every single time you copy them, it messes up their rotation a little bit. Let's not do that. Here we go. Comparable to 1917. Did I see 1917? Someone else may have to tell you that because I don't remember 1917. I think I did see it, but I don't really remember if I did or not, which means I don't remember the movie very well. So, because there were times whenever we watched so many shows and movies all back to back that I forget like half of them. Usually around the time that my wife is pregnant, because obviously we can't really do much. She's very, you know, bad ankles and stuff like that during pregnancy. They, you know, your ankles get really worn out. Basically, yeah, I probably did see that one, but I can't really remember it, to be honest. The cool thing is, if somehow they fix this effects bug and I can go back and place these again, I can place them inside these light beams. And just have both, you know what I mean? I don't need to, like, limit myself. As long as there's budget, you know, from scripting and everything else, then I could theoretically just come back in here. Well, both are set in the same war. Yeah. They're both very. I think I did see 1917. So I feel like geez. I'll look it up in a second, just so I can remember if I've seen it, and I'll tell you if I look it up, I will also remember if it was any good. There's a lot of good movies about war that's come out more recently like that, though. And so it's about the soldier going through no man's land in other areas to call off an attack because it's an ambush. Oh, wait, is that the one that's like about two brothers or whatever? It was like that was how they like advertised it. They were like, they're talking about how his brother was missing, shot in one take, like God of War is. Right. Yes. I think I definitely did see that. You know what else I can do with this? With these lights being like this? And what I was gonna do anyway to these? I was gonna change these up a little bit over here. Ooh, I forgot to prefab them. I'm gonna just select them all individually. But these four. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about now. To some extent. I'm trying to remember. Let's see. I think the one about the two brothers had brothers in the name, didn't it? That were also, I think, in World War I. I don't know if you noticed, but all these World War One movies came out right after Call of Duty one or whatever. And I'm like 99% sure that they were chasing the fact that these directors may not have even realized it was because of Call of Duty. But I would not be surprised if the reason they were chasing it was because suddenly World War One was on everybody's, search history and stuff like that due to, Call of Duty. And they were like, all right, well, if people are really into World War One right now, we can finally make that World War One movie we wanted to make, and they probably, that's why they were chasing that, I bet. So what I can do is I can actually orient this beam to match the location of the that it would be on the upper structure, and I can orient this beam to be a little bit off center to make it feel wrong because it's all tilted here. And if I end up undoing the idea of the plasma and the lava and stuff like that, if I end up not going with that, then I can always undo this and make it like normal. But I feel like if I go like this and I orient these and then I angle them toward one another but sort of off center, then I think it'll feel like this thing is a little bit more damaged, like put them a little bit like they're not quite syncing up. And then on this one, I can make the plasma all like red. I could even do it red on the upper ones of the others. Like blue on the bottom, like, no, we're good, right? We're good. And then the top ones being like, no, we are not good. You know what I mean? So, shot in one take. I remember that one being advertised for sure. Why is this one not magnet to its correct spot? They really are copying that far off center. So this one's, I think, like I said, I'm going to set this tone to a red. Like how Forerunner structures go red when something is wrong. I need to find the right red. Actually, I guess I go kind of orange when something's wrong. Like an orangey kind of red. I did not angle this one quite far enough for it to be able to be orange and still make sense. And then this one I'll make like yellow, I guess. Or maybe this one should be orange and the top one should be red. I think if this one goes a blood red. See, if I do watch Western Front, I'll be waiting on the Blu-ray. Makes sense. I don't know when that's coming out, but yeah. I don't know, is that coming out soon? Is that why you're saying it? Let's see. I guess this one. I think we watched on a streaming service. So, you're the bane of your existence. Okay, so we'll do like a red plasma there. And I could theoretically do like an orange over here or a yellow or something like that. But basically that's supposed to be a warning. I've got yellow lightning down here coursing through this. That did not turn to yellow. I definitely changed this texture, but you know what? There was that saving bug yesterday, and this was like the last thing I did, so I wouldn't be surprised if it hit. I was turning it to that pale yellow to make it fit the lava a little better. I also put one in over here and changed it to yellow right after. Or well, I'd already set it to yellow. Yeah, it looks like it didn't. Yeah, okay. Some of my effects that I did yesterday were, lost, apparently, in the saving bug that was going on yesterday. Turns out that was a server issue, by the way, in case anyone was not aware. It's out already in America. Oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha. I don't remember. I think we watched on HBO or something to that effect. Oh, I'm on World. That's why I can't tell how much it's rotated. There we go. Let's see if this lightning is in the right spot. Wait until it hits. Okay, I don't think it is. There we go. So I had this one over here, because that area is technically not even supposed to be exposed. I'm not sure how it got exposed. I don't think I changed this piece's location. So maybe this thing got messed up somehow, but... That's probably good where that one is. But yeah. It's a Netflix film. Okay, gotcha. If it's a Netflix original, then I guess I watched it on Netflix. That makes sense. But yeah, I just know that one was good. Do you guys think that this looks okay with the one red? Or should I make it more yellow and orange so it doesn't feel like it's out of place? You know what I mean? Or does it feel like it's out of place? Is that just me? Because it might feel a little bit more in place, actually. Hold on. I also had replaced an effects for to put the energy ball, the plasma ball back. It's the plasma sphere. Yeah, that one. I'd put this in the wall right around here, so it would course into the ground and around this lava pit and stuff. I think that's what it did. Where it was. No. It was actually, I put it inside the railing. Hold on. I remember now. I put it inside this sort of outer rail right around there. That way it'd course over into there and then over off into the lava area. And I had set the color here as well to a sort of yellow, sort of pale yellow lightning. Let's see. Ooh, maybe the whole thing in red orange. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Like the whole tower. Make this whole tower feel a little off, a little different. So like a red plasma with yellow lightning coming off this thing. And then, okay, let's do that. Let's try all of this in red. Boy, these really did get rotated badly whenever they whenever I copied them over. They're all in the wrong spot. Okay, let's go down here. The color I picked for this one was the orange, right? So I went to this one. No, this one. And then I went to... Maybe these oranges are too orange, and maybe they need to be a little bit lighter, almost like a yellow. Didn't I move this? Or did I only rotate it? I could have sworn I moved this down. Maybe I missed this one. And I went with what? This? No, I went with this red, I think. Yeah, I think I might change the orange to a different color, but this also is in the wrong spot. This was supposed to be... I must have missed this one. Like right there. And then tilted. Oh, I'm not on a snap. Whoop. It's supposed to be on a one snap. Oh well. And then this one this way. There we go. Like they're trying to compensate. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I can even make the plasma be shifting color here. Like this could be more of a yellow. Oh, this is the red. Okay. This could be like a red plasma here, and then a yellow lightning again. Okay, why is the glow blue? Why is the lightning still blue? Are there two plasma energy spheres, or did this just not change? Oh, what is that? I think I have two plasma energy spheres in this one. Where did that go? I saw a cone, an effects cone. There it is. Plasma energy sphere large. Look at that. Apparently I've got one in the top and the bottom. It might have been intentional. I'm not sure. But it might not be a good idea because of how many effects I have to do this. So, let's see. Well, there's my yellow lighting finally appearing. So yeah, this one's being like compromised. Also, the textures got all messed up. Okay, I want to see. What are y'all saying? American release was 2 days ago for disc. Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes sense. I'm surprised Netflix even sells on DVDs. Wouldn't they be like, no, you can't own this forever outside of my own streaming service? That would be absurd, you know? Like, shouldn't that be their take? It's like, we need to be your only source of this show or this movie. But I guess people will keep streaming from them and also buy the DVD. So I guess maybe it's fine for them. I said the DVD instead of the Blu-ray. Boomer. Okay. There we go. Dunno, but I'm here for it. Yeah. So now we've got a yellow glow because the lightning doesn't want to load instead of a blue glow. So it'll kind of at least be a little bit better than just nothing. I mean, then actually, they're not rendering at all. I feel like having one of them actually render, because I deleted one of them, is better than having only one. I mean, because it's better than having neither of them rendering. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's see, you're killing me by saying DVD. I know, right? Hey, the fire's appearing, the plasma's appearing, those plasmas are appearing. Looks really nice whenever everything actually loads up. Actually kind of makes this area look cool. Is it possible that what's breaking it isn't how many I have, but is actually... Wait, nope, they just stopped again, didn't they? Stopped looping, okay. Is it possible that these plasmas, like, is the cone visible? No. There's the cone. Is it possible this cone needs to be brought down? And, like, somehow because it's, like, colliding with the geometry, it's causing the effects to fail? Is there some kind of weird new effects thing involving the fact that they're... This is me grasping at straws about something that maybe would be in my control instead of being like a, you know, a bug that's impossible for me to fix outside of, you know, getting into the source code, which would be impossible for me to fix anyway. I'm not good enough at programming that I could just walk into someone else's code and fix their shit. That's not gonna happen. Ever. Wait. I didn't deselect the correct object. There we go. Okay, go back to there. There we go. Anyway, let's see. A film on a disc will always be a DVD, right? Blu-ray says hello. Killing me. You know what? HD DVDs say hello. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. If they would put Halo Infinite open source, we could fix the game in like a month. That would be hilarious. You know what though? It's the same thing as all like my dad always calling them CDs, and me having to be like, no, it's a DVD. I'd be like, I mean, it's a DVD, it's a CD, it's the same thing, right? It's like, no, it's not. It's a capacity, the way it's read, the way the beam width, all that kind of stuff is different. Your capacity is much higher on a DVD, and you're not going to see them put music on a DVD anytime soon because you don't need that much capacity for a 10 album set. So, you know, it's totally different. It's for movies. So, yeah. Okay, here's my other question. Depending on how quickly... Klen, do you think we're going to be done with this by the time Season 4 comes out and we have actual water? Because now that I'm thinking about it, like, I could delete one of the energy barriers and just make it one energy barrier again, because it didn't look terrible. It just didn't look thick enough, you know? So theoretically, we could go back to just the one energy barrier up top. And I still would probably need the two down here for where you jump through the water. but I could delete the second one up here and to reduce my effects and see if eventually we can get it to just make it 1. If we could put Halo Infinite open source, yeah, we could fix it. Yeah, because I don't know when we're going to be done with the scripting, and if it's by the time if water comes out, I'll be deleting these anyway and just putting in water. Especially if they have running water. Running water is something that's kind of necessary, and I really hope they don't just put 1 water volume in and just be like, yeah, it's ocean waves, and you know what I mean? Like if they put one water volume and it's ocean wave animated, then yeah, you can't really use that for lakes, can you? It'd be great if they set it up to where it was, you know, even if we finish before, you can update the map. Yeah, that's true too. Why am I not able to jump through? What is happening here? Oh, I'm hitting the little... Right, I'm not in the actual... I'm hitting these little cones. Okay, so it's beginning to animate more reliably, it appears. Like, some of them are triggering. So it really is basically calls to animate, or to render. It's render calls. Meanwhile, in Far Cry 5. Right. So these are render calls, where, you know, if you ever wanted to learn about render calls, here you go. The renderer has to call something to be animated, and it's having to do that in a certain order, right? And what it's doing is, with the effects, it's got a much more limited speed rate at which it's calling them to render, and that is causing them to sometimes turn off because there's too many of them. So it's not that it's turning it off; it's that it's not getting to it to render it in the list. Like it's rendering everything out in the list, and it's getting to the effect. And it's calling it to render, but it's not doing it until later, which is why you see them activating at different times from one another and sort of taking turns. The reason that you see this area constantly going is that is 3 different cones, each one of them going off at different times. But then you'll see that area taking turns, where it'll turn off and then that area will turn on. And so you end up with this. And this is what is actually limiting current gaming. Because like polygon count is practically not a limit anymore. Like you could this is as many polygons as this structure would ever need. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, sure, you could in VR you might want to go into the minutia even more. Like instead of having a little, you know, texture with normals map making this protrude or something like that, you might want to actually make it a real 3D thing. Eventually VR is going to demand much higher resolution 3D models. But aside from VR, as far as like rendering to a flat screen is concerned, this is as many polygons as a structure is ever going to need, and as long as we get our normal maps better and better and higher resolution, this will always look decent as far as 3D model goes. With nanite, polygons are gone. Yeah, exactly. Lake and ocean settings within colors and speeds. Yeah, meanwhile in Far Cry 5, lake and ocean settings with colors and speeds. Yeah, and that's what I want. Now, I'm worried that the number of lights in these are somehow... Maybe lights do affect the effects layer and eventually, and in some way, and somehow the lights in these are affecting it, but I doubt it. If that's the case, I mean, I don't mind just keeping them as these trees, you know what I mean? They don't have to be autumn trees. But I don't think that's it, because I'm pretty sure this started right before I placed those. It's like, I think I placed these down right after Season 3 started, and it had already started right as Season 3 started. Look, that's looking beautiful, but then, and then they start rendering at different times. Yeah, I'm beginning to think that that one's important because you look up at this thing, but this one is not actually as important. So I'm really beginning to think that I'm just going to delete these, and then I'm going to scale that one up whenever we can scale anyway. So I only need one of them, eventually. I'm not going to scale up by a whole lot, but I am going to scale it up. You know? This is true. The nanite polygons are gone. And that's the thing, is like, so this is going to reduce the number of, yeah, effects by 4. So that's making, hopefully, everything a little bit more reliable, because from Michael's suggestion, plus that reduces 5 per tower. By the way, I already deleted the pulse at the top. I was like, yeah, that pulse was tiny, and it would be really cool if I could scale it up and make it visible from the ground layer, make it like the whole thing go boom, you know, and pulse into the sky. But unfortunately, I don't think we can do that. I also need to fix these yet again. This is the second time I've had to fix these textures. The weird thing is, I think last time I fixed it by copying that one. So I didn't adjust the textures of these last time. Yet these objects keep on getting adjusted for some reason. It's like something about the actual location of the object is what's like messing it up again. It's like it's on wood distressed, and I think it's got to be Forerunner metal if I'm not mistaken. Which means I'll have to let's see, Forerunner metal simple. And then this is wrong, I'm pretty sure. What the hell? Oh, it's doing that thing again. Okay, wait. I gotta come all the way down to the bottom and then go up to like the blue, right? Get out, come back in, and then go down to none. And that will make it to where I can select it. That is a current bug where you, where, you know, I think everybody knows about it at this point. But if you don't, it's a thing where changing swatches and colors is currently bugged. I was hoping that was a network issue, like this network, my computer and the server weren't aware that I was changing the swatch, you know, as often as I was. Oh, let me just go ahead and delete that. And because of that, it was causing them to change incorrectly, you know? Like pop back and forth between two. It was like, it basically selects two and just switches back and forth between those two. OMG, I started to wake up 2 hours earlier. It messed up all my overall energy. Yeah. Is it because of your travels? Like whenever you traveled, you're waking up at a different time? Boom. Right to that ledge. Ever since I brought up my graphics, I don't know if you can see the choppiness, but like I think I need to bring them back down again. My graphical settings. Because it's getting really bad. But yeah. Let's see. I started a new job and they start early. Oh, gotcha. Is it like construction or something like that where they have to start early, or is it something where they just don't even really need to start early, but they do because they're assholes? Like in an office? Because that's also always really annoying. I'm going to reset these rotations and just re-angle them. Snap them into each other. Like, whenever I worked for EA, it was like, the only reason they woke up everyone, they required everyone to wake up early in that job was so that they could have more bodies in the office. They wanted they really wanted those chairs filled with warm bodies. So they had to make 3 different shifts throughout the day to do QA testing. Let's see, it's because they are 8 hours ahead, and I gotta catch up. Oh, cool. It is janky a bit. So it's like a remote job. That's cool. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing, so. Alright, gonna delete this effect. Oh, so there's a sound effect involved with those, too. That'll be gone whenever I have these, which honestly might be for the best. Because if I do sound effects there, then it will combine with those sound effects, which might be kind of cool, but also be like, it'll create like, you know, like particle sound effects. You know what I mean? Like artifact. I mean artifact sound effects. Like I don't necessarily want those sound effects. They're just sort of coming with the deal, with the whole package deal, right? So I think I want to put this one as low as I can, and then put the top one as high as I can, and then adjust their lengths of their cones to go all the way through, because I want the different colored lights inside the tubes on the gobo effect. So I think I want that. I don't want this to become invisible in the ceiling though, and there's eventually a spot where it's going to hit something. But yeah. So that sucks, but it's also kind of cool because it's work from home, right? That's what it sounds like. Is it work from home? Am I wrong there? Because work from home is really good. Let's see. Length is gonna be, we gotta go like 100 now, I think. Maybe more. 200? Okay, we're going too far. It might be that I need to go like 70 and it'll lengthen it and put it into the middle. Oh, fade start probably needs to go up to like, let's see, let's bring this fade in to 1000 and fade, what? Did I do 300 or did I do, oh, there we go. I did 100. instead of 1,000. Oh, not 6,000. 600. And then, let's see. I'm always confused about these because, like, the fade area of the cone, right, tends to... It always confuses me what it's doing because the length, because it changes where it starts to fade and also where it ends its fade. You know what I mean? So I'm always kind of like, okay, let's just try a few things until we get it right. Okay, the cones are just not rendering anymore, it looks like to me. That's what I'm seeing. I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing. Well, I mean, you're seeing the same thing as my screen, but I have no idea where the cone went at all. It looks like it's just not... Oh, fade start maybe is too high now? No? I don't know what I did. Well, let's go back to 300 and 350 and see if that fixes it, because that will tell me that that's the issue. Nope. Cone length. Huh. What happened to my cones? It's because they are... Oh, no. I was hoping that you were saying something else just now. Anybody know what's happening to my cones? Like, why they're just, like, vanishing? Because I definitely do not see any cones for these. And yet they are supposedly there. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. That's really weird. Okay, well, the light range probably needs to be 200 now. The outer cone angle probably needs to be brought in to be more of a fine effect, so it doesn't shine too much up there. Yeah, I don't want it to hit that surface, so I need to simultaneously change the outer cone angle smaller to be more focused in. Like a beam of light. Whoop. No, that's gonna not affect the walls inside the tube near the bottom. Okay, I need to make this wide, but I need to make the light range not so far. I guess I gotta bring it back down to 100. Let's bring it to 150 and see if that hits the ceiling. It does. Let's bring that then to 120. Still hitting the ceiling. So is 100 actually where I want it to be? Yeah, I guess so. 100 is exactly right. Never mind. Okay, anyway. Let's see. It's because... what's going on with my cones? This doesn't make any sense. They just vanished, and now I can't... Right? They aren't here, are they? Did I affect width at some point by accident? No, and it's definitely not making them reappear. This is really weird. They were there a second ago, and now they're just gone. Well, maybe if I quit and come back in, it'll fix, but for now, I guess I'll just place all of them, and I'll adjust them all later on. Okay, so duplicate. And now, where are my new ones? Hey, these have cones. Look at that. The duplicates have cones, so let's adjust their length to 60. Double them in length. That's pretty far. They're not quite touching each other, so let's go to 150. There we go. That'll create a nice beam of light in the middle. To some extent, it's very faded toward the middle. If I bring down this, if I bring up this fade start section, is that what broke the cones before? 320. Let's see. Intensity mixed. Let's see. No. No. Okay. If I make them any wider, they're going to get real wide toward the bottom. I mean, that's kind of enough light. It's not quite as much as these beams are going to do, but maybe they were a little over intense anyway. Let's see what these actually look like inside the tube whenever they actually render their lights. They're tubes. They're cones. Okay, so the cones seem invisible again. But they're not. So I think that the reason they looked invisible inside here, maybe they are here. No, because they would have gotten more intense whenever I shrunk them back down again. Yeah, no, they're just not really visible inside these tubes. Must be my imagination or something, but... Oh, there they are. It was there. I thought I saw it. Now it's gone. Does the glass make the cones, like, vanish? Because that could be a shader thing. When shaders mix, they tend to delete each other visibly. Or they interrupt each other's, like, render call. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's weird. It goes away when you get close, but it's there when you're farther away. Oh my gosh. No, it's reflecting. It's reflecting off the glass. But it's not in the tube. It's just reflecting off that back glass. Okay, so I think whenever I turn on reflection volume... Oh, no, it's not. I'm just off-center. It's inside the glass. The top one is off-center. The bottom one is centered. So I need to... Because of the mess up that happens whenever they adjust. Whenever you copy them. Okay. Probably also have to reset this one's rotation at least, if not both of them. Okay, so that one, now they're... excuse me, here we go. Now they should both be inside the glass. Oh, I see, okay, this one's... Yeah, this one's angle got messed up for sure, since we're working with such specific angles. They're such long tubes. Okay, now they're inside the glass. But they do only render when you're far away, and then as soon as you get close, they seem to disappear. And I assume that's because of the fact that their glass might not let cone render. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. But now it is finally rendering. But it's like once you get close enough. Is that fade length? Like if I adjust the fade length, will that fix, or is that something that can't be fixed because it's something to do with their render about running into cones like that? Like, I've got fade start at 320, but that's like as you get farther away, right? It starts to fade whenever you get to 320 units away, and then whenever you get to 350, it completely turns it off, right? That's how that works. So I don't really see a setting for fading as you get closer to it, if that's the case. I'm pretty sure that's how the light settings work, based on just experimenting with it and potentially not understanding it whenever I did, but, you know, yeah. But that means that this one might render when I get farther away. Nope, these first two just don't work. Oh, right. You know what? I adjusted their cones back to small. Okay. Maybe the reason they were messing up was because I was trying to see them while inside the tube. Inside the light. And they do need to be... What I set it to with the length, like 120? 120, there they are. Yep. Right away, both of them started working. Okay. And then I did something else. What did I do to make these so bright? Was it not 120? Was it 150 or 130 or something? Let's see. It was 150. Okay. And the longer I make them, the brighter they are. Maybe I should actually bring them up even more. But with them disappearing whenever you get too close, maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, to be honest. I wish they didn't disappear whenever you got too close, but at least they render when you're in here. And then it's if you get close to them that they don't. Which, hopefully, if you're, you know, getting close to these, you're trying to shoot at things and you're not going to notice that disappeared. And if you're trying to shoot at people over there, you're going to be using these, you know what I mean? If you're trying to shoot someone over there, you'll be using these as, like, maneuverable shields, kind of, by changing your angle. So maybe you won't even notice that's happening. but I think they look great how they are. Other than, in fact, I kind of like them more than these weird plasma beams. These plasma wisps, which seems to, by the way, they had their own problems because, like, let's see, if you're up here and you look down, you can see that it ends right there. You know what I mean? I was gonna have to scale them up whenever you could scale and make it to where you only see like the middle of the beam, but like you can tell that's not going all the way down if you look at them. So they had their own problems too. They may not disappear, but they're not perfect either. By any stretch. So there we go. Had to solve a problem there. But yeah. Okay. There we go. Got this one and this one. I like this inner tube texture and how detailed it is. That's not whatever I just selected. I did not want to select. But yeah, I really like this inner tube texture because of the how detailed it is. Makes it look really cool whenever you look up and down that tube. But let's see. Okay, duplicate it, and of course they're both going to be off their rotation and wrong, and possibly off their location as well. But let's try to center them as best we can. And up here is only a little bit off. I kind of wish that as a monitor you were not limited in your, like, you can't look straight up, you know what I mean? And because that's what, you know, that's what you do with first-person shooters. I kind of wish that monitors were not limited in that way. But yeah, reset both the rotations. This one can flip around. Okay, now they should be good. Now I do have a question. Should we just should Klen and I just get together and make our own game? Because after this is done, we will have, you know, experience working together, and we could just move over and just go to like Unity or something, and then just make our own first-person shooter. I certainly don't have enough time for that during the day, but I could figure out a time to do that. Let's see. Okay. What happened to my light? Oh, I moved it over by accident. I have game ideas, but I need a team of 100 people. Yeah, exactly. Or like spending literally every waking hour of your life doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you take advantage of the Unity asset store items, a lot of it is already done for you, and you can get in there and like do some stuff that's like really unique afterward, you know? Yeah, these are like moving closer and closer every time. They're definitely moving up from the bottom and down from the top every single time they do this. Let's reset rotation and then fix this one, and then I'll go up and fix the top one for its location. But yeah, I think with a team of 100 people, we can make something really cool. We could just go to the store and get a dev team, right? Real quick. The Dollar Store. Yeah, so anyway, I think it would be really cool to do a Unity game, though. I've been trying to do that for a while. I made some 3D models and might show off what I've made so far, like the you know, the actual gameplay that I've done so far, which is literally just moving and jumping, which is so basic, and like a game developer expert. That just shifted whenever I let it go. That was weird. Did you see that? That's probably what happened to it last time, whenever the other one shifted all the way out of the tube. Anyway, Unreal is better. I mean, it's better if what you're going for is realism, but realism doesn't last. Games that do realism only are only popular until their graphics look bad. Whenever you do like a what do you call it? Like a stylized art, like Halo 1 had, for example, instead of trying to chase realism, you end up with a much higher longevity, and people keep on buying your game for a long time. So there are pros and cons to it, because it looks so good right off the bat that people are like, oh, I really want that now because it looks so good. But like, you also need a huge team to do that. Art teams have to be huge for that. Unreal uses C++, the only true language. Ah, I see. Yeah, no, I'm C# anyway, because I've been doing Unity long enough that I've forgotten any of the specifics for C++. Okay, so it's really laggy right here for me, and I think I need to bring my graphics back down. Like, I've got it. Do you see what I did? I did this. I was thinking that if I did the resolution scale thing, that I could make it look nicer on stream. And maybe it has looked nicer, and I don't know. No, that's not even the reason. It's the other resolution. It's the other settings I did. I don't know if y'all remember all of them that I did the other day, but yeah, or yesterday. But, what was it? Texture filtering. High quality improves textures on geometry that are parallel to your line of sight. It was probably this one. No, wait. Which is the one that brought it up a ton? Was it just texture quality? Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, it needs. That's the one that needs to be. That I need to leave the game and come back in to reset. To restart the game to take effect. Oh well, we'll just have to live with the lag a little bit for now and I'll just get away from where it's lagging. But I think what's happening is the textures of all of these objects being so shiny and stuff like that all at the same time. It's really high texture quality, and so it lags specifically in the middle here. Whenever I'm around these objects, but doesn't lag pretty much anywhere else on the map. Let's see if it lags inside this base, for example. No, it's not doing it as bad. It's not perfect, but it's not as bad. But yeah, no, C++ is like the real language, the real programming language. You're right, but it's also, you know, becoming more and more outdated as C# comes along. We'll see eventually if there's actually one that's worth, you know, calling better than C++. But also though, programming like what do you call it? Node scripting. Node scripting is will come along eventually. It will probably eventually replace line code, because new programmers, are finding it so much easier to learn node scripting, and node scripting gets more and more robust until it's going to match line code pretty much close enough to one, that you're going to end up with a lot of people who never even learned line code to be a programmer, because node is so much. It is awful, but it's only awful to people who already know line code. You know what I mean? Like people who learn nodes from beginning still have to relearn everything again with line code. And it's like, you're not exactly starting from 0, but you're only starting from like 10% if you go from like node to line code. But if you go from line code to node, you know, like 60%. You know what I mean? But yeah, exactly. It's about readability, and I think that people who are used to it from the get-go, like people who start with line code or with what do you call it, node codes, they view that as more readable. Did I actually settle on there being these giant gaps in the sides of this? Because I don't remember settling on that. I don't believe I did, and I think I might have grabbed the wrong object for this, because there's like 2 or 3 different versions of this doorway. No, that looks like the right one. Nope, I have no idea what I did, but that does not look good. It's not right, whatever it is. Maybe I was planning on putting a column here and here, or something like that. But anyway, this building to me, you know what's hilarious? I was like, yeah, I really want to do one of these towers, and I planned it out ahead of time, and I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make it like and you were like, yeah, let's do, you know, microbiomes. So I was like, yeah, like a little like oasis around the thing to make it look like, you know, like make people want to come over here, because they're like, that's where the resources are, because that's where the the living resources are, so tell them that that's where they got to go, right? And that was really cool. And then Oasis came out, and they had this, and then I was like, hey, I'm gonna put some hex columns in a cluster in the middle of this building, like the UNSC is doing some kind of like experiment on it. Like maybe this building is sort of like a map room, like it maps out the Halo ring by tapping into the coordinate system in these hexes and sort of knows where everything is. And this is something they would deploy to the battlefield so they can create like topographical maps inside their buildings that are like 100% accurate to the ring, and maybe even find like cave networks and stuff like that using this as like a ping system for the rest of the ring, right? So that's what I was thinking that this would be like, right? And then they come out with Season 3. This was all right before Season 3 that I built this. Season 3 comes out, and they've got that one map that has that's an ONI facility where they're doing research on Forerunner structures, and they've got a bunch of much thinner columns in the middle, and it's a path up through a hole in the roof where you can actually jump your way up. It's like it's a clamber path up through the roof, and it's on I forget what that one's called, cliffside or something like that, and it's got one in it, and it's the ONI base doing research on a Forerunner structure that they had inside of it, like Forerunner, hex columns that they have inside of it. I haven't played those new maps, right? It's like ridiculous. It's like, and then let's see, and then I talked about how I was like, I want a Blamite engine. I want to make one, or not a Blamite engine, a Blamite. Sorry. Blamite is an actual engine, I think, right? Isn't it? I don't remember. Anyway, I want a Blamite mine where like the banished are like harvesting Blamite in this mine, and it's it's causing they're explosive. You can shoot them and blow them up, and otherwise it's like a strip mine where they're like trying to gather this stuff, right? And it'd be like this cool place to fight in, right? And then it turns out that a leak has shown that they're making one of those, and it wasn't because they're watching my stream. There's no way. Apparently these leaks are old information. I just didn't know them. And I'm like, what the heck? How are they doing this? How are they coincidentally designing all of the same kinds of ideas as me? Is this just like the obvious next step from the Halo ring design that they did whenever they added the hexes? Is a ONI base with hexes clambering up through the middle like a staircase? An obvious next step is are these pet towers, doing being like, hey, what do these towers actually do? Well, maybe they're terraforming. Is that the next step? Is it the obvious next step? 100%. They stole your ideas. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, no, I know, I don't believe that they stole my ideas. However, I am like, is this like the obvious next good idea based on the last good idea they had, and it's just making it to where we're having overlap? I'm thinking that, by the way, these not rendering in sequence is way worse than having fewer of them constantly running. So I think I'm going to delete some of these. It might even be proximity that's the problem. I think that's the best one, actually, if I had to guess. So I'm going to leave that one there and see if this actually even does anything. I'm beginning to think this is a Season 3 bug. Like, I keep deleting them, and they seem like maybe they're rendering more regularly. But, like, they're really not. Like, that one's still having to take turns. Okay, I'm just going to delete all of these in this waterfall completely, right? And then I'm going to go watch the riverbed and see if the riverbed immediately starts playing nonstop. No, they're starting to take turns too. They are playing more often, though. Well, are they really? Let's undo that and just see. No, they're not. They're not playing more often. I think this is a Season 3 bug with effects. I think the best way to tell is if we go into an older map that has this stuff already in it. Like, Aaron, if you're still here at the moment, if you go into your map with your waterfall, if it does the same intermittent, like, taking turns to call these effects, issue, then this is 100% a bug that was introduced with Season 3 and was not something... and it's not something I need to worry about any more than I already have. Like, reducing the effects, yes, that's a great idea, but it's beginning to look to me like maybe I'm overdoing it. I'm over-focusing on it, because my effects count is over like almost 600% or something like that in Waterworks, and it's fine. Or it's at least over 300%. This one was over 300%, and it was having trouble, so then I was trying to bring it down. But, like... I'm thinking this is a bug. And it's because they're changing effects right now. The ability to scale them is requiring them to change the code of the entire... of how effects work in general. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's introducing all these new bugs, and that's why they're... that's why we're seeing this. But, like, I like these new lights, and they're cheaper. And I really like how they look from below, because they create that caustic effect there, which adds to the plasma in the middle. That's already, you know, doing something like that. It's super wispy. So I really do like this, and I think that I'm absolutely keeping it. But some of this stuff, like maybe I'll do this light beam and then a thin beam of plasma in the middle later on, the wispy one, and do both in the middle here. But you know, anyway. We're at 46% simulation memory, so I really do need to finish these all dynamic object buildings. Klen, if I wasn't stuck with dynamic buildings, this is a good call. Here you go. Actually, this is a really good timing, I think, to talk about this. This building is completely 100% dynamic objects. It was very difficult to like get it looking good, and it looks okay. You know what I mean? It looks pretty good. It looks very kind of like somewhere in the middle ground between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, I would say, which makes sense because I'm limited to Halo 5's lack of scaling, but I've got at least the textures and quality and lighting and graphics of Halo Infinite is a little bit better. So, sexy dynamic building, yes. And so it's very cool looking. And what I'm wondering is, if I go through the same amount of trouble to make this one look good over here, which will look completely different because it'll be UNSC themed instead of ONI themed. But if I go through the same amount of trouble over here, these hex columns in the middle are perfectly fine. I didn't scale them or anything, and they're ready to go. They're just stuck together. And they would rise up. I was kind of hoping we could maybe rise up the building and then rise up the hex columns after, because I kind of have to go a little farther up, because these will stick up out of the ground before the building rises if we don't do that. So anyway, that's just a minor scripting thing where, like, basically I would ask you to call these to move and then these to move, but if you make your script to where it's all, you know, triggerable, then that shouldn't be too many more nodes to do that, to basically have this building actually kind of count as two buildings. But I could also, if we have to, I could just delete these or move them down far enough that they don't poke up. I just really like the look of that. But anyway, the point is, should I, this one, for example, is already going to have this part here, and then that's going to rise up. And this part's going to be like, it's going to look like the supply pad that they built first as part of the manufacturing base of all of these other buildings, you know what I mean? And then it's going to become a vehicle depot. So, because like, it's clearly a vehicle depot, but it's also got all these supply crates back here. So it'll kind of feel like this was what they built first so that they could build these underground buildings with their rapid manufacturing system. Anyway, what I'm wondering is this. Would it make sense instead to do what we were talking about with the scaffolding and have them be like they're under construction up top? And we could, instead of doing just like regular scaffolding, we could theoretically do something that looks like nano machines are building it. Like, what if instead of doing scaffolding, just so we can decide fully, we can explore these concepts a little bit. Like, what if I put, instead of scaffolding, I put a nanomachine sun. Exactly, like the whole idea, because like this is what I've talked about this in a different stream. So it occurred to me that we're having you gather power from Forerunner structures. The UNSC can create their own power with their own nuclear reactors. Why do they need Forerunner power, right? And then we're having them rapid manufacture underground. So maybe it's like they're incorporating what the Spirit of Fire did, and only the Spirit of Fire really had that technology before, and they're trying to incorporate it into the greater UNSC. That's cool. But like, this is just a Spartan team being deployed. Where are the engineers that are building this underground? Is it rapid manufacturing due to an assembly line? Or maybe, to explain all of it, is it that they're attempting to use nanomachines, but nanomachine rapid manufacturing costs an enormous amount of power, so they can't use regular UNSC power generators. They have a UNSC generator in the middle that has capacity to handle it, but it burns up its fuel source. Do we need real concrete lore for the map? I want to have real concrete lore. I like there to be concrete lore for everything, because that's what Bungie did. Like, everything that they did, you can read the descriptions of what they were doing. Even the stuff that they wrote out, like CL1, no, what is that planet? Anyway, the moon, the moon around Mars, I think. The cloning facility, the Spartan cloning facility, and training facility. Yet, Bungie simp. Basically, the better, in my opinion, all of the best maps have the best lore. Because you can play on a map over and over and over again, and it feels like you're throwing away your time. But if you feel like this map is actually doing something, you know what I mean? To me, it feels a little bit cooler. Like, for example, Live Fire, I think, is pretty cool because it's a training base, but it's kind of the simplest version of that. The version that's in the banished bases, that other map that's in the banished bases, the map itself isn't that great. I feel like it's a little bit boring, but the lore behind it makes it cool, because it's like this is a captured banished base that the Spartans are now using to train in, so it's like they're actually attacking a banished building, you know what I mean? So they know the layouts of these buildings and the way that they would build their structures. So it's kind of cool, I think, to have that kind of thing. And adding the lore in there, basically storytelling through level design, I think is really cool. Like, for example, I don't know if you were here for this, and it's kind of hard to show off in this because it doesn't work in the regular thing. Okay, so down there, right, Klen? Down here, I have these fusion coils, and I have grav lifts. And these grav lifts, that's why the shroud down here is here, so to keep players from hitting the grav lift and being launched into the air. And I still have to finish it. But basically, they launch the fusion coils up through the tube. Whenever it gets up here, I actually had to, and I know, I'm gonna probably be able to do this differently in the future once some of the bugs are fixed. I actually had to make a small script, and I think we might, if you don't mind. It uses like 5-6 nodes, something like that. But they've also changed how nodes work, and they've upped the limit to where you're not as restricted anymore. I don't know if you heard about that, but that update that just came out for Forge just lifted some restrictions on scripts. But anyway, I can't do anything because I've got to move around like this, and then after you move around like that, then it'll let your mouse take over. Anyway, this is the number of scripts. I've got 8 here. And all they do is, whenever the fusion coil enters a certain area up here, it deletes them. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be able to instead make them use a timer to delete. My idea was originally, and actually maybe you could help me debug this, despawn on a timer. Time delay was 1 second originally. And the idea was it would launch them into the air, and right around there, after 1 second of them existing, they would despawn. And then they would respawn on a timer. Oh, apparently I had messed with the mixing. Oh, no, don't do that. Let's go back in there. Cool. So each one of them has a different spawn time, so that they'll come up at different times through the tube. Basically, they respawn, get grabbed by the grav lift, and launch through the tube. And then whenever they reach the top, they get despawned. I wanted this timer delay to despawn them instead, but it's literally just not doing it. It's gets up there, and then they fall back down, and they jam right here, and you can see them still in the tube, and they never despawn. And I have no idea why that's the case, but basically I had to do a script to make it work otherwise. I thought that despawn on a timer would make them despawn on a timer, but apparently that's not the case. They're just not working. And it might be a bug that they're going to fix, in which case I won't need the script brain by the time we're done with the map anyway. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, they despawn, and then we're going to have fusion coils spawning out here, and so it's going to look like this place is rapidly manufacturing fusion coils underground, possibly being charged by these towers into the fusion coils, right? And then the fusion coils are being sent up and teleported all over the ring. And actually I had just to give you an example, I have my plan is, once everything else is done, and I have just a little bit of budget I can throw into this, about using one of these little outside the map areas like these hex columns here, to sort of hide another one out here and make it look like, you know, from a distance there are more out here. And basically, if you look over there, you'll notice it. That's pretty far away. I might need to put it a little closer to make it worth it. But anyway, and build like a small hex structure like this around it, maybe facing the opposite direction or something, so that you can barely see this, but you won't see the door or anything else. Anyway, the point is that another structure out there will tell you that this is teleporting these fusion coils to these, and even out to there, right? And that will give you the idea that maybe this is actually teleporting them all over the ring somewhere, or all the way across this desert, at least, and being used in these structures as like fuel to power the terraformers, or something to that effect, to fix the ring. So all of this is just some world building, that like some sort of like lore that's told through storytelling told through the map design, like some natural map design storytelling, that people don't really notice those sorts of things like actively. They subconsciously see these things, and it makes them like the maps more. A lot of times that's like, for example, whenever you have graffiti that says, you know, this is madness on the wall, that's not necessary for a multiplayer map, but it creates some lore, some world building, and it makes the map more interesting. And so what I'm wondering is, if there's lore, so the nanomachine thing, what I was saying about the nanomachines, is that the reason we don't use nanomachines in real life, and the reason it was absurd that they were using it in Halo, is because the amount of power necessary is not possible in real life. Like, humans wouldn't, like, if based on our current understanding, you would need like an entire star's power source just to generate one of these buildings with nanomachines. But you know, what do you call them? The Forerunner have compressed stars inside slip space fields with, you know, for power generators, and to power Dyson spheres, and to provide light for Dyson spheres and all sorts of things like that. They're very capable of that. So the question is, if we did something, and this is probably not cool, but not a good idea, but we'll see. Oh, this would have to be able to delete, so it actually can't be scaled up like this. I'd have to put a ton of glass objects here. Maybe it's not an idea that'll actually work. But what I was thinking was, if we used columns and glass to sort of box it in and put a smoke in there like it's being built by nanomachines over time, then we could use we wouldn't have to do dynamic objects for the building, which means the building itself could be a little cooler looking. Like, this is a really cool building, and it's as cool as I can make it. This is as cool as it's going to get with just dynamic objects. And the other ones can get about this cool if I work really hard at it. I'm just saying that if you're at all considering wanting to make these buildings cooler, you're right, glass can't be scaled. Yeah. I don't know, because we'd have to delete it, because, yeah, we have to be able to delete it. So we'd have to put a bunch of glass panels, and then columns between those glass panels, and then there would be like smoke inside there, you know? That would be kind of like making it hard to see what's going on inside there. Maybe some light beams that are creating smoke, basically inside there. And we can delete the light beams, because the light beams can be scaled. Like the smoke columns can be scaled inside the light beams. And they're dynamic objects. But basically we could delete the glass, or move the glass down and delete the smoke, or something like that. And then that would allow me to make a really interesting dynamic building inside. And since I already finished this one, we could leave this one to just rise out of the ground. I like the fact that when you start the building, it's not there. I agree. I do too. I really like this one especially. And that's because, like, this one is like, you know, it makes this giant opening into the middle whenever it's not here, which means, and from the middle. So, like, your enemy could attack you from the mid, and they have all this cover to do it from. And your base is wide open. So, like, a sniper could even come down here sneakily, you know, stealth their way down here. What's going on with this column? Why is it poking through at that weird angle? Did I do that on all of them? It doesn't look bad. It just, I didn't expect it. Anyway, I must have done that on all of them, apparently. Anyway, they can use these columns to, like, come up and sneakily, you know, get some sniper shots off even from below instead of taking a high ground like snipers tend to do. And so I like that this building creates cover where, you know, they can't do that. It simplifies. This side can now, if a sniper comes into that building and tries to attack, now you know there, and around the corner, you know what I mean? Maybe on the roof. Like, there's some ways that they can still use this building, but it simplifies where they're actually able to hide and reduces their surprise shots. You know what I mean? Like, you can cover this area a lot easier whenever it's reduced down to that. And then on top of that, what it does is whenever this building... Let's try both and see. Okay. So... yeah, let's see. I also like how this looks in the floor before it rises up. It looks like it could open up potentially. You know what I mean? The way that just happens to look, just feels like it could open up and become something. But yeah. So you want to try both? This is already built, so we already have one of these to test with. I think, for example, I could test this around this structure because it's already a structure that is made with static objects. So I could just build and see. I can't do this. It's got to be an individual glass panel. I could see what a glass wall could look like, you know, if we build it that way, and see what it looks like, or how many objects it takes. That's another thing. Is I guess maybe a giant glass panel with these little tiny glass panels that can't be scaled might end up being so big it's more objects than even this. And actually, now that I think about that, I'm realizing that means the budget would be static objects plus basically the same thing as this dynamic object building. So while the building might look a little cooler, that's seriously eating into the budget. Because if you look at the simulation memory, it's at 46%, and I only have... This one has like 50%, maybe 60 or 70% of the objects that I'm going to need by the end of it. This one's all the way done, and I need to copy it over there. And I think this one takes up like 10% of the budget or something like that. It's insane. It's like 5 to 10% of the budget, 'cause it's all dynamic objects. And also, I wasn't aware there's a dynamic object limit, like a hard limit on dynamic object. I should have realized that, but I didn't realize that until I was working on on Photography Studios, Cell Games Arena. And then I was trying to help it to where the Cell Games Arena can be destroyed and like leave rubble behind. And I got to a point while I was duplicating the rubble that I couldn't make enough rubble for all of the cubes that made up the floor of the arena, because each cube of the arena basically can be destroyed individually, which is going to be cool, but it's also like, yeah. Anyway, there's a hard limit on number of dynamic objects, and this is so I might actually hit that limit eventually if I'm not careful. I also hate how duplicating dynamic objects messes up their entire location, because that means that this building is, like their rotations and stuff, that means this building is not going to come out correct, and I'm going to have to readjust everything on it whenever I go to make the copy. On the copy, I'm going to have to adjust it. That's going to be terrible. It's a whole thing. I'm going to go through a lot having to deal with these. But basically, yeah, I think that this is kind of, yeah, maybe I'm overdoing it, thinking about trying to make the glass panels instead, because they are very small. It will affect the budget. They're dynamic objects, so they'll be expensive dynamic objects. They'll have to be dynamic objects, I mean, to be deleted afterward or lowered into the ground. So yeah, maybe the script. Yeah, I think we should do the buildings coming up. That was all just me wondering, and yeah, it's a question I've had for you for a while, and then I just realized that if I'd asked myself that question and gone through it myself, I probably would have realized that myself and not have to ask you. So yeah. What do you think? Yeah. Anyway, this is going to lower down and be really cool. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do with these walls, because these wall panels, there's nothing that's like it's the right size, and I'm really dissatisfied with how it looks exactly, like right this second. And since you can't scale glass, I can't like put glass panels inside these windows very easily. And I don't believe they're the correct... They didn't have the foresight to make a glass panel that is already the right size. So all I can really do is do this and then put like a column across the top maybe to make it look cool. And then I can put like 2 of them. I'm going to need 3 of them. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things about the dynamic buildings that make them very difficult to make, is what I'm saying. But I'll work them out. I was actually planning on building one today, but then we went into those effects and everything instead. And I'm beginning to think the effects are broken. Like I was saying before, I think there's a bug with the new season. So yeah. It's getting late. I should probably get off, and then I can figure out these structural things in a minute, off stream. Like start working on these, and because my kids need to do their schoolwork, as per usual. I could put a column in the middle and a column across the top, and that would make these glass panels work out just fine inside of these, and allow you to sort of see out before you get to the top. So if you can see the enemy's movement or whatever, and stuff like that. But yeah. So yeah. I think that's going to be it for today then. Unless you have something else you want to talk about, by the way, Klen, before we go, because I've got you here. I don't want to waste that opportunity, because we don't get to talk like live very often. We always end up sending messages to each other and then like replying like 5 hours later to each other. So it's more of a back and forth right now. If you have anything else, okay, cool. Okay, well, yeah. So once you start scripting, once you get the scripts going, that'll be cool. I would, if you haven't looked into it about the current season 3 stuff. Thank you. If you haven't seen the season 3 stuff yet, then by the way, I'm dumb. I was pronouncing Ripshade because he had the uppercase letter in certain parts. It's probably just Ripshade or something like that. I don't know if it was intentional that he was doing that. The other guy I was that I'm working with, that is I'm just arting a map for him, but I haven't even really started on that map at all. I haven't even placed a single object, so yeah. But anyway, what I was gonna say was that if you haven't looked into the season 3 updates text about it, I would definitely go look at that, because like I was saying earlier, they updated the scripting. I don't know if you have or not. You probably already have, but they've updated how they did some bug fixing on scripting, and specifically increased the limit to where I think you were limited in the number of script brains you could do before, but to like 7, and I think they increased that limit, or maybe they increased the limit on the number of nodes. Actually, I could test that really quickly for myself by going into Waterworks, which I might do real quick before I get off. I know I already said I'm getting off, which means probably everybody ducked out. No, it seems like everybody's in there. Not really sure, but basically, usually whenever I pause the map and then start talking like I'm about to leave, everybody does leave. So I don't know if you guys are still here. But if I go to Waterworks and I go to try and place a bunch of nodes, then it'll tell me if they've actually increased. You're here? Cool. Wasn't sure. Wasn't sure because the YouTube, it's always like it tells you how many people is in this stream, and then it goes down at the end, and then it sits there for a couple seconds, and then it corrects, and then it goes down at the end, and it had shown that it was like everybody had left, but then it's back to saying that everybody's still here. So it just does that to me all the time and throws me off, and I never know if I'm talking to the void or not. Or rather, talking to the late viewers who weren't here for the live stream. The video viewers, basically, is who I'd be really talking to. Let's see. Okay, if I go into Waterworks Modern, we can really quickly just try and throw a whole bunch. I'll just copy and paste like half of the script, and if it lets me add more script nodes, then we know that the limit has been brought up, because I'm pretty sure that's what they were saying, but I didn't understand the terminology. He was saying something about, I think it was they're increasing the script nodes and number of lines that you can draw between script nodes, because that counts as like basically the same as a script node. And I think that because of the terminology they were using the blanket term that's all of the script, basically objects. I don't think they were saying objects, but they were saying like script. Maybe it was objects. I don't remember. They're saying something, and it didn't. And I was very confused. Oh man. almost nostalgic hearing that explosion going off in the background. Excuse me. Okay. Take over with the mouse. Which one is this? Ah, yes, this is my stalactites. So I was like literally down to the wire and didn't have any more nodes left. But now I am not down to the wire and can place tons of them. Oh, nope, I hit a limit there. Never mind. There's the limit. Unless it's still limited per brain. I might have hit the limit for this brain. Is it limited per brain and then also limited for the entire map? Because if that's the case, then... Not that one. I don't even know how to go in the script brain with mouse and keyboard. Let's see. Let's see... Maybe they didn't increase this limit and I'm wrong. But here, we'll just hit V, Control V again. Did it successfully make one? Oh, it is making them. But some of them are not coming in right. And some of them are. Okay, so they did increase the map's limit, and now you're just limited per brain, it looks like. Because I was able to place some, and then it right after that started doing this thing. And then if I go to, let's see, I'm just going to mangle all the scripts and then delete this version of the map, because it's going to autosave this version of the map, which is really obnoxious. So this is the pump shroud script, and it is once again not going to the corner. Okay, so that thing where it goes into the corner thing, that is a script brain limit to the number of nodes, and not the map. But then you're still, let's see if you're still limited in number of brains. Let's see. Gameplay, scripting, script brain, script brain, script brain. Sure it'd be hitting that limit right around now. Nope. And what happens if I duplicate that one with all of its nodes in it? It worked, and now it's there. Look at that. Look at that. So, okay. That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, we're basically unlimited. Not literally unlimited, but we're now... Your limits have been lifted. The strings on your puppet have been cut. You are unlimited now, Klen. You can place as many script brains as you want now. They're not limited to 7, and you have way more nodes to go off of, which is fantastic news. And I might even be able to come in here and make my stalactites deal damage to vehicles now, because my simulation memory actually is still broken because my script brains are so old. So one of the things that actually is wrong with my map here is that because my script brains are so old, all of the nodes are still breaking my simulation memory. But now that I'm unlimited on nodes, I can safely copy my script brain and then delete the original. And my copy will affect my... Look, the copy is affecting the simulation memory. So I can actually fix my simulation memory tracking now because I'm unlimited in my number of nodes. So, or not unlimited, but you know what I mean, virtually, as far as our previous limits were concerned, this is virtually unlimited. And theoretically, I could then fix my simulation memory, and then that means I'll be able to finally move on and finally fill out the simulation memory to 100% and fully detail this map as best as possible, rather than being afraid I'm going to break it every single time I do something and make it so where all my work is lost and I have to delete the save. Anyway, that's fantastic. So I'm going to have to delete the save because it's going to autosave. At least I think it will, actually. Did they fix that bug too? Let's go back into it and find out, and then I'll have to delete 2 saves if it ends up being the case. I didn't pay attention to... Yeah, I created one. It created one. Okay. So it definitely created one because it's trying to tell me that I'm not on the latest version. So gotta go down here to version history, and that top one can be deleted because I just broke it. There's no way that that functions. So yeah, there we go. Now I can make my I might be able to, if I have enough budget, make the scripts work so that the stalactites actually deal damage in that map, and that's going to be exciting. they'll deal damage to vehicles. They already dealt damage to players, but for some reason they just bounce off vehicles. So I can rebuild. I had the script working where it was doing that before, but that broke the map and I lost all that code. So I can't even go and copy and paste that code, unfortunately. That map won't load anymore. That version in the version history didn't load anymore. So instead, I'm going to have to, rebuild it. But I did it once, so I can figure it out again. I think I didn't do it on stream, unfortunately, so I can't go review what I did last time. And I'm going to have to probably completely figure it out again and remember what I did. But, yeah. Cool. That's good news, Glenn. We have more scripting brains to work with. And I'm happy about that. So, I'll catch you guys next time.